All right, here we go. Let me erase my drawings on my picture. Matthew, will you read this first one that says corresponding angles? That wording, the same position, seems so vague to me. But, okay, I'm going to make my transversal yellow. So they'll be on the same side and in the same position. So like 2 and 6. So they're the same side of the transversal and they're on top of these lines. So 2 and 5, that's one example. All right, Shaylee, my goodness, sometimes I'm slow with names. Will you read the definition of alternate interior angles? So I told you yesterday a good strategy if you're trying to figure out what they are is to start from the bottom up. So are they on opposite sides of the transversal? That's pretty easy to decide. Here's my transversal. Oh, they're on opposite sides. Some people were having a hard time deciding, are these interior or exterior? So it helps to extend the lines that are being transversed, because then I can see, are they inside of those two lines or are they outside? So an example of alternate interior would be 3 and 5. Alternate interior. Okay, don't tell me. You're set. Will you read about alternate exterior angles? So the two things that I look at, are they on opposite sides of the transversal? Ask yourself that question first if you're not sure, and then decide if they're interior or exterior. So an example of exterior would be, oh wait, that color matched another one. 7, oh that's a 1. 1 and 7. Alternate exterior angles. Okay, Jared, will you read us consecutive same side interior? Interior, but they're on the same side. I'm going to pick all the different colors today. So 4 and 5. Same side, in-house. Okay, and the last one, consecutive exterior angles. Sophie, will you read that one?
Exterior angles that are on the same side and in-house.
So it's either 1 and 8 or 7 and 2. Okay, I think we got pretty good at those yesterday on the difficult picture. So on the easy ones, it's even better. So, yes, on your notes packet, we're going to go to the page that looks like, let me get there. This one, parallel lines and transversals, and it looks fancy and cursive. The first thing we need to do is draw ourselves a picture in this space. So when you draw your parallel lines, don't do them horizontal. Well, I guess you can. We'll do them horizontal. So draw yourself a set of parallel lines. Bless you. That's the cutest sneeze ever. I like blow the roof off. In geometry, you have to know for sure that the lines are parallel. But geometry mathematicians don't want to write everywhere, these two green lines are parallel. So they've got a little shortcut. It kind of looks like an arrow, but it's right in the middle of the line. So this is a symbol signifying that these two lines are parallel. Either that or they have to tell you. So let's say this is line L and M. They would say line L, and then they do these two little parallel lines. And this means line L is parallel to line M. So a couple different ways in geometry that we make that sentence shorter. We make it easier to get that information to you. Okay, your transversal, make sure it's going diagonal, or these are harder to see. Like, don't do a vertical line, please. Transversal, we'll call it T. And a way that I think of this, if you've ever been hiking, you'd all have that friend. So most of us stay on the switchbacks. And then you have that friend who's like, they just go straight up the mountain, right? They just transverse, or they transverse, maybe not on the way up, but on the way down, they just transverse. That's a way that I use that word outside of math. So who is this person? Who does this when they hike? Yes, this is Miles. You do it too, Cody? Yeah, we can't even stay on those switchbacks. So that's how I think about what the transversal is. Okay, as you might be able to see, when you have parallel lines, there's all kinds of equal angles. So I'm going to put X's in these ones that look acute. They're all going to be the same measure for a couple different reasons. These two X's here are vertical angles. These are corresponding, and then these are vertical. So it's kind of like this chain, like these are vertical, these are corresponding, these are vertical. So corresponding angles are congruent. This is the symbol that means congruent. It's not just the acute angles that are equal, though. The obtuse ones are equal, too. So these are X's and O's, 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 O's. O's are equal. X's are equal. What's X plus O? 180. They're a linear pair, linear pair, linear pair, linear pair. So alternate interior, congruent. Yeah. Oh, yes. You can take a hall pass with you if you'd like. Alternate exterior angles. So on your picture, see if you can locate alternate exterior angles. They're on the outside of my green lines. They're on opposite sides of the transversal. Are they going to be congruent or supplementary? I see you nodding your head. So these are alternate, in the way. These are alternate exterior, and so are these. O's equal O's, X's equal X's. They are congruent also. On pictures that look like this one, I think it's, are you coming back?
Yeah. I completely forgot I had an PCT.
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. Good luck. I forgot about that too. Okay, here's the ones where it moves on from being congruent. Sometimes these special angle relationships, one will be an X, one will be an O. On my picture, I can see that one is acute and one is obtuse. The pictures aren't always that obvious, but it's a good start. So same side, interior is an X and an O. Same side, exterior are X's and O's. So these are linear pairs or they're supplementary. If you don't know, when I say supplementary, if your mind isn't like, they add up to be 180, give yourself a little reminder. So this has a sum of 180 degrees. If I say supplementary, that's what I mean. Okay, after you write these words, if I ever need to tell you, just write sup and the symbol. You don't have to write those whole words again. I think on this page it's important, but beyond that, if it asks you, are these supplementary or congruent? Use the shortcuts. Okay, Maddie, will you read these directions here? So let's look at our picture. The ones that are vertical angles, I think I showed you this. One of them makes a V, and one of them makes an A. These are vertical angles. The way that I like to picture it, in my mind, I can see like tracing paper. So if I trace this angle O, and then I fold it over like a butterfly wing, like I reflect it, I can see that they're equal. I can do the same thing with the X's. So if I trace this X and I reflect it over like butterfly wings, I can see that those would be equal. Similarly, if I trace this and I slide it up along the transversal, I can see that those are equal. Okay, let's do some examples. Oh, no. Maybe there's another day. Okay, where did I get to? Miles, will you read these directions here?
Identify the angle pair as congruent or supplementary. Give your reason.
Congruent. I don't care if you give your reasoning. And sup. Okay, let's look at 3 and 5. You can look at the definitions we just did. Or do they look equal, or do they look like they're going to need to add to be 180? If they're both acute or they're both obtuse, they're congruent. So these are both acute. Let's look at 1 and 8. Hayden, what about 1 and 8? Do those look equal, or do you think they'll add up to be 180? Yes. If you're really not sure, these are same side consecutive. So you could go back and look at what we just did, but I don't know that you need that all the time on these. So, okay, please do the next all the way to H on your own. I'll give you 2 minutes. Set timer for 2 minutes. Hey. Three, 5, and 7. Those are a linear pair, and linear pairs are supplementary. So look at 2 and 6. 2 and 6 look like they're equal to each other. If you have a hard time on some of them, I've got tracing paper. So you're always welcome. I can't really demonstrate it on the board very well, but if I trace angle 2 and I drag it down, I can see if they're equal. Or maybe if I trace 2 and then I flip it over and I compare it to 8, if I'm just not sure. It's a method that you can use to be sure on these pictures until you understand the rest of the stuff. Okay. Where did I leave off calling on people? Shram, C. What are angles 2 and 6? Congruent or supplementary? And they are corresponding angles. They are on the same side of the transversal and in the same position. Corbin, how about angles 1 and 7? Congruent or supplementary? Do you know what kind of angles they are? Alternate exterior angles. Ethan, how about E, angle 4 and 5? Yes. When they're the same side, they're usually supplementary. Are you missing something? Oh. Check under your hat. Did it come out under your hat? We can look in a minute. We can help you in a sec. Cody, F. Angle 3 and angle 7. They are corresponding, which makes them congruent or supplementary. Good. And Bronson, angle 5 and 6. Do you know why on that one, what the name is? Do you know the reason why? It's the one they mentioned at the very bottom because they're a linear pair. So that wasn't an angle relationship we talked about yesterday. It's one from Unit 1, which I thought we were still in Unit 1, so I'm kind of confused now. Okay, last one, Cooper, angle 2 and angle 4. And why? Do you remember what those are called? Those are the vertical angles from Unit 1. So those last two, this was a linear pair, and those ones are vertical. The rest were like alternate interior. Okay. There's two more things we have to go over before I give you your worksheet. Let me just see if this is the one I want to do. This is more like your pictures look like, but we ought to do one of these real fast. Okay, will you turn over to example 3? And Seth, will you read these directions to us? This means the measure. When you read it, you say the measure of angle 6. That's okay, we're going to make our picture nice and crazy, but write the 142 by angle 6. Before I call on Julian to tell us the answer to this, I want you guys to think, what other angles will also be equal to 146? And this is the idea of the X's and the O's. So Julian, what other angles will be 142 degrees? 1, 3. And how do you know that? What does your brain do that you would know that? Yes. Did you just see that they're the same shape? Is that kind of how you do it? Okay. Different people have different methods, so I'm just curious. Okay, so I can come over here, 142, 142, 142, 142. Peyton, how might I find one of the other measurements, like angle 5? How might I find angle 5? Yes, these are a linear pair. These two create a line. 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 These two. We've got linear pairs everywhere with the common 142. So 180 minus 142. I just made a very big mess of my picture. So 5, 2, 7, and 4, they're all 38 degrees. So when you have pictures like this, there's only going to be 2 angle options. Okay, example 5. Mine's going to be really messy because my pen is big ink. Matthew, will you read the directions here by example 5? And again, you read it, the measure of angle. Okay. I want you to start with the one with the 75 degrees, angle 6. Can you see another angle? It could be vertical, it could be alternate interior, it could be corresponding, that's going to be congruent. Shaylee, do you see another one that you for sure know is going to be 75? No. Close. So you're focused on those 2 lines? Yes. So be careful. With these ones that have 6 angles all at once, oh, it's a lot. So make sure you go directly vertical, and you're correct there. So I'm focusing now on this transversal, this one here. So using that transversal you're set, can you see any other angles that would be 75 degrees? Yes. Do you see one more you're set? No, it's going to be vertical to this one. You guys see it? The 9? Oh my gosh, my picture is horrible already, and I've only done a few angles. So you can go write them over here. This one's 75. 6 is 75. Oh, I guess they told me that one. 9 is 75. 14 is 75. I think the picture is more helpful. Okay, now I want everyone to look at angle 10. Write in your 75s. So we knew these were all 75 because vertical angles, and we're ignoring this whole part of the picture right now. Alternate interior angles and vertical again. All right, Jared, how can I find the measure of angle 10? Yeah, so if you can ignore everything, you just have 75 and this missing. 180 minus 75. Is it 105? See if you can figure out another angle that would for sure be 105. I can only see one that I know for sure. Do you see it, Sophie? Yes, we've got vertical angles here. 10 and 13 are like butterfly wings. They're a reflection. So 13 for sure is 105 degrees. Now, the reason I'm not going to go up here is because I know that the measure of angle 10 is equal to this. Like, these are corresponding, but they've cut it into two angles, so I can't do anything with that yet. I do know that whole thing's 105, so that might come in handy here in a minute, but just not quite yet. Any questions with what we've done so far? You have to ignore parts of the picture sometimes. Okay, let's look down here. So I've got this all done. I'm going to ignore this. I'm looking at this transversal, and I'm looking at angle 12 is 121 degrees. And I got to Maddie. Maddie, can you tell me one other angle that's for sure 121 degrees? Is it? No. 4 is going to be equal to 3 and 7 and 8 and 11. Like, that's going to be these ones. But 4 will not be equal to 12. It'll be, what will it be with 12 though? If they're not equal, what are they in today's lesson? What does that stand for? Supplementary. They would be supplementary. So you could do 180 minus 121. Did we already do that? Is that right? Are you guys helping me with my math here? We've got two good hints now. Miles, what else can you fill in? Do you know anything else that's for sure 121? Yes. 7 is a vertical angle. It's that reflection. So this is for sure 121. Let's look at the 59. I'm glad that Maddie helped us find that. So Hayden, what else would be 59 degrees? Yes, they're vertical angles. Does anybody see any other ones? $11 and $8, yes. So these are a linear pair here. So this is 59. My picture is a disaster. This is 59. How do I find angle 5? Bronson, do you see it? How do I find the measure of angle 5 inside this little triangle? Yep, there's two ways that my eyes are seeing. This is a linear pair. So I could do 180 minus 59 minus 75. Or I can remember that a triangle is also 180. You guys learned that last year, didn't you? I agree. So 180, it's the same numbers. 180 minus 59 minus 75. I actually don't know what that is. Is anyone doing that? 86? 36? Where is this coming from? And these are both. This is vertical again. So my picture is a mess. Yours is too. But you could fill them all in. There's one like this on the homework. So if you get stuck on it, please just raise your hand. Okay, I don't even want to say is there any questions, because there probably is. Okay, will you go to the page that says parallel lines, transversals, and algebra? Oh, we're still doing good on time. This is what you wanted to do yesterday, huh, Bronson? With the algebra. Okay. There are two options for today. The angles, because of the x's and the o's. XO, 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 XO. They're either congruent or they add up to be 180. They're supplementary. Those are the only two options. I feel like there's one that throws in a complementary, but maybe only one. Let's see where I got to. Corbin, on question number 1, are these two angles that they're giving us measurements for, are they congruent or are they supplementary? Do you know their special name by any chance? Does anybody know it? They're on the same side of the transversal in the same position, corresponding. They are corresponding. So I do 58 equals. He said they were equal. They are congruent. 5x minus 2. And all it says is to solve for x. Some of them you have to plug back in and find measurements. Happy birthday yesterday. They brought you your candy today. We thought you would like Starburst. Do you like that, or would you have wanted chocolate? Oh, we made a good choice, you guys. Okay, I am not going to solve it. I know that you can add the 2 and divide by 5. That's not the part that I'm concerned about right now. So let's look at number 2. Cody, these two angles that they're giving us information for, are they congruent or supplementary? Yes. What is their special name? Do you happen to know? Yes. They're on different sides of the transversal. They're exterior. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. You would solve it down. Yes. From 22. From the 22. Again, I'm not going to take the time to solve it. If this is a part that you get stuck on, hopefully I'll notice as I walk around. All right, we're going to skip to number 4. These are congruent again, so we don't need to set that one up. Let's look at number 4. Ethan, 9x plus 2, they're pointing to this angle right here. And then 133 is this one. Are these congruent or are they supplementary? Yes, I can see that one is acute and one is obtuse. Like some of these pictures, it is so obvious those are not the same size. So keep that in mind. So I would write 9x plus 2 plus the 133 is going to equal 180. That's what supplementary means. And we would solve. Okay, I'm not going to take time to solve. Let's look at one more, and then I'm going to pass out your worksheet. Number 5. Now, I'm noticing I've got some x's and some y's. So my hint, don't set up an equation with these two. You can't solve for x and y at the same time. I notice, though, that 2 equations have x. This has an x, and this has an x. So I would start there. So Bronson, these two angles, the 8x minus, oh, I did twice in a row. Cooper, I'm to you. 8x minus 31 and 6x plus 3, are they congruent or are they supplementary? Yes. Do you know what kind of angles they are? Good. Congruent means they are equal, but in a different spot. Okay, we are going to solve this one, so write that one down. Some people get stuck when they got variables on both sides. So Seth, what would you do first to solve for x on this equation? Perfect. There are 4 correct things. If you did not do that, please don't erase your work. It's probably fine. But now that he chose that, there is only one way to finish it. So Julian, do you know what I would need to do next? Oh, okay, I'll pick on someone else then. Okay, and what would you need to do now? Yes, if you decide that the constants are going to be on the right, which is what he chose to do by adding the 31, your variables need to then go over to the left. And then we divide by 2. Is it 17? How can I use that to find the value of y? Matthew, what do you think? How can I use the fact that x equals 17? How can I use that to help me find this second variable? Not sure. Shaylee, what do you think? Yeah, we need to have this angle as like a number. We need to know the whole degree and not an equation. So you can do 17 times 6 plus 3. Or you could do it in this one, 8 times 17 minus 31. So I don't have my calculator or my answer key on me. If you guys will solve that. So plug the 17 back in. Either one, they're the same thing, so it won't matter. fact, you can put it in both spots. Okay, you're set. Now that I know that that's 105, 105 and this 5y plus 35, are they congruent or supplementary? I don't think so. This one's obtuse and this one's acute. Yes, so you can either use that they're a linear pair. So together these make a line, that's 180, or these two together are consecutive interior, which is also supplementary. So 105 plus 5y plus 35 equals 180. Supplementary means they add up. They add up to be 180. Okay. Let's practice on our own.